Coming up on Confidential, the illustrious story of the Four Horsemen.
You're the richest and the best, and you talked about it.
We were the best team in the world, just stating facts.
And the road to WrestleMania begins with an edge.
We'll get some body heat going, get 50,000 edge heads screaming, and we'll see what we can do.
Hi everyone, I'm Gene Okerlund, and this is WWE Confidential. The Raw 10th Anniversary Spectacular is this Tuesday, and it is going to be an incredible evening. Superstars from Raw and SmackDown will be on hand to celebrate the show that revolutionized the industry. And get this, awards will be handed out in 10 different categories, including Raw Superstar and Raw Diva of the Decade. Now that should be interesting. You can get more information on all the categories and nominees by logging on to WWE.com. My dear friend Bobby Heenan and myself have been asked to be special presenters. I, for one, cannot wait for this Tuesday night. Hope you'll join us. First up tonight on Confidential, the legendary Four Horsemen of Wrestling. Although they went through several lineup changes over the years, the original Four Horsemen have always been the measuring stick for any collection of superstars ever since. Of course, I'm talking about ring technician Tully Blanchard, the despicable Ole Anderson, the enforcer Arn Anderson, and the consummate world champion and the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. They were the elite stars of the NWA, all of them champions, united through arrogance, as well as having an insatiable appetite for power and partying. Without this rogue band of Latter-day Musketeers, there would have never been an NWO or a Degeneration X. But still, there has never been anything quite like the original Four Horsemen.
The original Horsemen were Ric Flair, Arn and Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard, J.J. Dillon was the manager. I think the original Horsemen, the reason it endured, and everyone will tell you it was the best, simply because it was the first. And anything that is the original, very seldom when you see a movie, very seldom, is the sequel better than the original.
Why it had such a great impact is because it wasn't a booker in some little office trying to come up with what'll work, what scenario will generate wrestling fans and viewers, but rather the fans named us that. Well, I mean, we named it, but the fans grabbed a hold of it.
When this whole idea of the Horsemen came to pass years ago, nobody had any idea of the magnitude it would have on this sport.
This was a group of guys that were already established people on their own, and then you put them together like a gang, everybody looking for each other's backs and stuff. It had never really been done in wrestling, and it was something unique.
You're talking about the four studs in professional wrestling.
Flair was the champion. He was our flagship. He was the guy.
Flair could deliver the goods. And so if you use that as your yardstick, the rest of us had to come up to that level to be able to deliver the goods, or we wouldn't have had a 3 or 4 year run and be successful.
Tully Blanchard was the ring technician. He had the knowledge, he had the skill. He got around that ring as good as anybody in the business. Ole was a heavy hitter. He was a tough SOB. And he taught me more about tag team wrestling than anyone ever has.
We're the best there is. There ain't nobody better than the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. We'll show you just how good we are.
Ole is more intelligent than most and more focused than most.
I was the rookie. That was my role. I had the want to, I just didn't have the know-how to. And they groomed me, and I owe all those guys a ton. JJ was the brains. He was the organizer.
Well, we know what we want to do. There is no doubt in my mind as to what our goal is in 1986.
The primary goal of the Horsemen was just commitment to excellence. We're the best, just the best damn wrestlers in the company, period, or in the world, for that matter. When we're saying we're the best in the world and we got the gold to back your play, you know, it's hard to be humble in those situations.
Because the Horsemen are the elite in all of professional wrestling. We got our reputation because we've earned it.
If you wanted to take us off the top of the hill, knock us off. If you can. If you can't, you know, zip it.
We oftentimes, as a society, you know, we don't like those people. Sometimes we do, but sometimes the ones that have it and talk about it, we don't like, and it irritates us.
The Horsemen are where it's at, professional wrestling.
So our job was to irritate, because if you got irritated enough, you know what you'd do? You'd spend money to watch me get beat up. My dad told me when I was growing up, he said, people either love you or hate you. There's no in between with you.
Whether the people loved us or hated us, whatever, they knew bell to bell, they were just going to get the best damn match they ever imagined.
But the goal of the Four Horsemen was simply to sell tickets. I mean, that is what you're in business for.
We are the measuring stick. We are the reason that there's tens of thousands of people in every arena. We are what's making it happen.
The Orange Bowl in 1988, I believe it was, and there was just an immense crowd in the Orange Bowl to watch Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors and Nikita Koloff and Paul Ellering against us. And I mean, from 100-yard line to 100-yard line, the bottom deck was full and the top deck was a half moon. I mean, I don't even know how big, but I mean, there was an immense amount of people.
I think there were a lot of defining moments in that, but I think we defined a work ethic that stuck with us, certainly, the rest of our career.
The wrestling fans generated this thing, more so than a promotion machine generating it. You couldn't replace me and Arn when we left. I mean, they took some big stars and tried to replace us, and tried to revive it, and revive it, and revive it, and give it CPR. They got it kicking a little bit, and then it died.
Some combinations that they threw together as like a quick fix for the company. You know, all right, let's break the Horsemen out and dust them off and go with them. It's like they never needed you till they needed you type situation.
Being a horseman is not something you put on in the morning and take off at night. It's a state of mind. It's excelling to the best of your ability. It's four individuals thinking singularly, acting collectively.
When you took Arn out, myself out, and separate, you changed the combustion of what made it work. The last night before I went to the WWE, and I told J.J. Dillon, I said, this is an end of an era. And that was it.
Up next, Chris Jericho brings us back to the beginning.
So I have a picture of me and Ricky Steamboat, and I'm like, and he's like answering the question too, so he's like, it's the worst picture ever.
Before he was king of the world or a huge rock star, before he was the first ever undisputed champion, even before he was a WWE superstar, Chris Jericho was anything but your average Joe. He was born in New York City while his dad was playing professional hockey for the New York Rangers. As an only child, he received a lot of attention, which he still seems to enjoy. When his dad retired from the NHL, they moved to Winnipeg, Canada. It's not exactly New York City, so Chris relied on his rather vivid imagination to keep himself and his family entertained.
Winnipeg is kind of a mid-level town. I guess about 600,000 people live there. It's right in the middle of the prairies. So it's very, very cold in the wintertime, probably getting down to -30, -40 at times because there's no mountains. It's so cold and there's a lot of snow. It's a real winter town. I think my upbringing in Winnipeg has a lot to do with my success today because it hardens you as a person when you have to go to work or to school and walk to school, 20-minute walk in -40 weather. I don't care who you are, that toughens you. When I have children someday, I would like to have them, maybe not all the time, but I'd like to have them spend a lot of time up in Canada just because I think it really adds to your whole constitution as a person when you get older.
If I remember much about Chris as a youngster, is how much he read. He loved books. His aunts took him out and he bought more and more books. He read and read and read. He loved comic books. He loved drawing. From an early age, his mind was always reading. He loved to read books, loved to play games. He had this fantasy world, no matter what kind of game he played. Winnipeg, being the province it is in the middle of Canada, is 4 seasons, and Chris loves the 4 seasons. For him, he was active all the time. In the wintertime, he played a lot of hockey. He loved his hockey. Summertime, he played soccer and baseball.
Okay, come on, there you go. Hey, Chris scores. Everyone winds up. Oh, he hits. Safe. Ooh, safe at home.
We did a lot of camping.
Carrie caught the most and I caught the biggest, so that means that Grandpa only caught 2 little ones, so that means that he's a stinker.
Loved swimming. He was a very, very good swimmer. So he was very well-rounded as a young person. As most of the young people up here, they adapt to everything. They get outside and they play. They walk to school in the cold, and that's their life up here. They just adapt to different styles of weather.
I was always a big hockey fan, obviously, because my dad played hockey, but not as much as I am now. I'm a much bigger hockey fan now. Like I said, I think back then it was just my dad played hockey, no big deal. I was kind of into baseball and Canadian football I was a big fan of. And then also in high school, I played water polo, believe it or not.
When we first started playing water polo, everybody had, they made us wear these little red Speedo shorts. We didn't want to be 16-year-old guys. We didn't want to wear little red Speedos. You know, it was like, he wears a Speedo type thing.
You know, it's pretty kind of an embarrassing situation when you're wearing this super tight little bathing suit and you got to be swimming around with girls and stuff.
So we came to water polo the first time, and we're all wearing the big Bermuda shorts down here. So we thought that was fine. Coach, no, it's going to slow you down. They suck in a lot of water.
So what we did is we would just put a towel on and walk to the edge of the pool, take the towel off and jump in really quick, and then had the same towel as soon as we got out of the pool, put the towel on right away. You know, kind of, for some reason we're just embarrassed with the Speedos. I first got into wrestling probably when I was about 7 years old or 8 years old because my grandmother used to watch all the time. It was AWA on Saturday afternoons.
We used to go swimming in his pool. All it was wrestling. Like I said, one of the first times I met Chris was guys doing wrestling moves on me in the backyard.
Me and this guy Craig, we used to go to the matches all the time, the WWE matches, and then also at the World of Wheels that came every year, they'd always have a wrestling superstar come. One year it was Jake the Snake, and another year it was like Hillbilly Jim, and then one year it was Ricky Steamboat, which was my idol, and I loved Ricky Steamboat. We went to the World of Wheels, stood in line, and the whole time I was waiting to ask Ricky Steamboat a question. What question can I ask him? I gotta ask him a question, and I wanted to be a wrestler, you know? But at this time, I was only 16 or 17, so I think I was like 5'8", 170 pounds, soaking wet, holding a brick. So I wanted to ask him how much he weighed and how tall he was, you know? So I finally got to the front of the line. He was wearing his little karate outfit, the red karate outfit headband, the whole deal. And I was like, hey, Ricky Steamboat. And so I asked him the question of, how tall are you? And he said, I'm about 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. I was like, wow, I think I can do that. But meanwhile, I was asking the question, how tall are you? Was when they took the picture. So I have a picture of me and Ricky Steamboat, and I'm like, and he's like answering the question too, so he's like, it's the worst picture ever. We look like a couple of losers, but it was pretty cool. And then from meeting him, I was like, man, I know I can do this. If he's only 5'11", maybe I can, and coincidentally, that's what I am, 5'11", so I worked out being about the same height as him.
We had a charity hockey game here in Winnipeg, and Jesse Ventura came through as a celebrity, and Chris had a chance to sit down for over an hour with Jesse the Body, and Chris had said to him at that time, I want to be a pro wrestler, and Jesse said 2 things to him. 1 is be ready for a life of pain, and 2, get your degree. And that just turned Chris's whole life around in school. He worked very hard to graduate, and he listened to that advice, and so that was his love at that time. And he got focused, and he got some good advice from Jesse the Body Ventura, and away he went.
My family was actually pretty supportive of me wanting to be a wrestler. I think they were maybe a little bit shocked at first.
His mom and I at that time were firm believers that you don't spoil people's dreams, and we just encouraged Chris to do what you want.
When he was 19, he packed everything up, moved to Calgary to join the Hart training.
When I first moved to Calgary, and all the students stayed in this hotel. It was called the Willingdon. Everyone called it the Willie. It was a big pink building, and it had no phones in it. It was pretty shady. Actually, coincidentally, the first day I pulled up in Calgary, the first guy I met was Lance Storm. He had just showed up as well, so he was my first friend in the business.
Chris was one of the last guys for the camp that showed up, and I think I may have been the first guy to meet him at the hotel when he came in. And with wrestling camps, you see a bunch of dreamers who really have no clue or no hope. And then Jericho walked in, I'm like, oh, thank God, there's another athletic guy here. So we latched onto each other pretty quick right at the start. Chris hasn't changed much. You know, he was the same competitor he was then as he is now. He always wanted to, you know, work as hard as he could and have the best match he could back then and now. You know, he likes being larger than life, and he really is. So he was like that back then, just a little younger and had really, really bad bleached hair.
So I go to Calgary and I worked there for a while. Japan, which was in '91, I'd been wrestling for a year, was huge. I've arrived. Wrestling in Japan, how cool is this? Then I got a gig in Mexico in '92. Then I got to work for the big company in Mexico in '93. So it went in steps, you know, each thing was bigger and bigger and bigger. Probably the first time was in '95. I wrestled against a guy called the Ultimo Dragon in a place called the Sumo Arena in Tokyo, Japan, for about 12,000 people. And we had a match that to this day is still one of my favorites. We totally stole the show. And that was like a big night where I finally arrived. And then about 6 months later, we had a tournament, a junior heavyweight tournament, and Benoit was in it, and the Ultimo Dragon again, a lot of guys. And I actually won a trophy from one of the magazines as best fighter. I didn't win, but I got the best fighter award. So I took that trophy home on the plane, man. It was about this big, and I had to fit it in the overhead bin or fit it in the stewardess closet. But I dragged that thing home, you know, 10,000 miles to have it sit in my room. I still have it to this day. And finally, when I won the Undisputed Championship last year, I was like, it doesn't get any better than this or any bigger than this. You know, if I retire tomorrow, I've done everything I could have ever done in this business, you know. As big of a deal it was to be the Undisputed Champion, it was the biggest moment of my career. The first time I won the Intercontinental title was great too, because Ricky Steamboat was the Intercontinental Champion. That's what I wanted to be. I've done everything I ever wanted to do and more, and done pretty much anything that any wrestler could ever want to do. I've accomplished it. So I guess you could say probably now is when I finally realized that I've arrived.
Up next, Bradshaw gives the military a holiday thanks.
I believe as far as every American's concerned that there's a deep love for the military, and that's what I wanted to tell these guys.
Home is definitely the place to be for the holidays. But for the men and women of Operation Enduring Freedom, going home was not an option. Since the attacks on September the 11th, thousands of Americans have been serving their country in the remote regions of Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Kuwait. The week before Christmas, the U.S. Army and the USO, along with various celebrities, united in an effort to bring a bit of Christmas cheer to those brave soldiers who were so far from home. The WWE's very own Bradshaw gladly volunteered for the mission. Unfortunately, the big Texan forgot to bring along his own beer rations.
Hey, it's Bradshaw on our way to Afghanistan, Kuwait, Uzbekistan. I will give you a personal tour of everything but the damn liquor cabinet, because there ain't no damn liquor cabinet.
What we went on was basically the Christmas USO tour for the Army.
How are you, sir? Where are you from? Philadelphia.
We went to Kuwait, out bases that were right near the Iraqi border. Afghanistan, went to Kandahar. Actually, after that, we were the first entertainers to ever visit Kabul. We were there just because we wanted to see the troops and tell them thank you.
So tell us how you like it over here.
Well, I like it fine.
What do you think about Daryl Worley?
Well, that's another story. This is not The Rock, and I'm glad, because I don't like him anyway.
I don't either.
Most country music singers are good guys, and I was pleased to meet him and to see how he interacts.
Seems like we make the people just a little bit uptight. Within a few minutes, they just kind of start to, the walls come down a little bit, you know?
Yeah, they know what to expect. Can you refer to Saddam Hussein as your Baghdad bitch?
Yes.
Can? Why not?
Listen, I'm going to let you talk to Bradshaw, all right? All right, hang on. It's got your way.
Doesn't do justice to what goes over here in Afghanistan. We're just outside of Kabul, Afghanistan. These guys have been fighting the Taliban the last couple nights. They had a death a few nights ago. They basically are fighting these guys all the time. And we're just doing our part. You know, we're not part of the military. And because they are over here, because they choose to be away from their family, their loved ones for 6 months to a year, even more at a time, we get to live free. We get to live like we live in America. We have the greatest military force in the history of the world. And because of that, we have the greatest country in the world. They obviously are carrying the burden. Every American has a responsibility to its own country. The country doesn't owe you a damn thing. It's the other way around. You owe these guys. You owe the country. It's hard to explain what these soldiers go through every single day without seeing the conditions they're in. But because they do, we are going to be a blessed country for years and years and years.
And now, please welcome from the country of Texas, Bradshaw.
Guys, thanks for letting me come. I really appreciate it. My father served in the Korean War.
I've just always had a deep patriotic feeling, a deep love for the military. I, regret not being a soldier.
I actually promised my wife I'd take her to Cancun all year for Christmas.
He said you want to go somewhere warm for Christmas.
So when I got the call to come here, I pulled her aside and said, honey, we're still going to the beach. There just ain't no damn water. I would like to complain about one thing, though. I can't sing like Daryl Worley. I'm not funny. I don't look like our Miss Claus there. And the only thing I do well is drink beer, and there's a damn prohibition going on here.
The guys seem to enjoy it. They don't get that many people coming to see them, so they're just glad to see other Americans.
About 3 weeks after September 11th, Vince McMahon arranged for a bunch of guys to go down to Ground Zero just to tell the firefighters, the finest police force in the world, thank you for everything that they had done.
These guys attacked children in a daycare, playing with their little trucks and their blocks. 4 weeks later, you could still smell the death, the burning flesh, and know that was children in there. These guys are cowards.
And that guy in Afghanistan, and where he was there, sat back and laughed. You know what? When the military showed up, they realized it wasn't so damn funny no more. You see, they forgot one important history lesson. Though we have been hurt, we have never been broken. And though we have been tested, we remain undefeated.
There's a deep love for the military, and that's what I wanted to tell these guys. I would never dream of going to Afghanistan. It's a horrible country, but to get to see the troops and get to be there on the bases and stuff with them, it was the best travel experience of my entire life.
Up next, Edge TV, live from Seattle.
This is Space Needle. Look up. Look way up. Oh my God, I'm gonna throw my back out here.
And now the WWE Rewind is brought to you by PlayStation 2. Live in your world, play in ours.
Will it be Ric Flair to break the Undertaker's winning streak at WrestleMania? Both men have beaten the hell out of each other. Now the tombstone, no! The Undertaker is up. He's 10-0. 10-0.
It seems like it was just yesterday when The Rock and Hollywood Hulk Hogan blew the roof off of Skydome at WrestleMania 18. It's hard to believe, but tickets for WrestleMania 19, March 30th, went on sale this morning at Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. 50,000 plus are expected to fit under Safeco's retractable roof. Edge got the jump on the rest of his fellow WWE superstars by spending some time this past week in Seattle, not only promoting WrestleMania, but also getting a sneak peek of the venue.
Here we are in Seattle. I'm sore today. I'm grumpy. But that's okay, because it's WrestleMania, baby.
All right, here's the latest installment of Edge Camp, folks.
How are you?
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Going to see Andy Savage. Wonder where he got that name.
I don't know how this is going to look.
WWE's Edge is in studio, ready to trash talk. If you think you can give him some crap, good luck. It could mean WrestleMania tickets.
Rich, let's hear your trash talking, man. No swearing, of course.
Well, Edge is a talentless one-hit wonder.
Well, you're off to a bad start already there, Podunk.
Edge, you sure used to rock. Before you turned into a bleach blonde, sellout Shawn Michaels and the Rockers wannabe pretty boy.
Next.
I'm told this is the best guy on the line.
It's an honor and a privilege to speak to one of my favorite divas. How do you feel about your dad and Dawn Marie? I would wrap you up in a penis suplex. What up, Edge?
What up, buddy?
Hey, shut your lips, shut your face, shut your pie hole. Listen up before I come down there and drop kick you in the head, son.
I think we have Sir Mix-a-Lot on the phone. We were talking about him before.
Good if I can just jump in.
Would you like to trash talk, Fred?
No, I'm too good. I don't want to trash talk anything. I just want to say that these tickets, this is the most exciting thing to ever happen to the city of Seattle in the history of the city of Seattle.
Come on, the Space Needle in '62, that was pretty big.
The Space Needle was fine, but the Space Needle has got nothing on WrestleMania.
What about the Ballard Art Walk?
The Ballard Art Walk is close, and closer than the Space Needle, but it doesn't compare to WrestleMania coming to
This is the way I
C-Town.
put it. This is our Super Bowl, and I know, no offense, the Super Bowl is probably not coming here.
First one down, free CDs. Can't beat that.
The Super Bowl of wrestling, and it's coming to Safeco Field March 30th. That should be a lot of fun. Tickets on sale this Saturday. The Buzz.
BJ Shea.
There is the Space Needle, where we have to get to in probably, what, 10 minutes? Supposed to be there in 5? We're gonna be late. Look at Kurt's face on that. God, what an idiot.
These are people from the CBS affiliate.
Where am I going next?
This guy from the Times.
Okay.
He wants to shoot a shot of you with Space Needle on your bicep.
This is a surprisingly uncomfortable pose.
Okay, next.
Hey, this is Edge from WWE. Seattle, you better turn it up. Turn it up, Seattle. All my Edge heads, it's time to turn it up. Turn this bastard up. I know you can't use that one.
Oh my God, I'm gonna throw my back out here. Okay, this is Space Needle. Never been up it before, so this is where I'm eating today, so I better have good food.
That is beautiful. Man, this camera just doesn't do those mountains justice. Good weapon. What's a $20 burger taste like?
Ladies and gentlemen,
everybody got to see me go pee.
That's Edge's meatball recipes. They're very good.
I want to go to WrestleMania.
Give me 5. I know you can do that. There we go.
It's just going to be out of control. I mean, there's going to be 50,000 screaming fans there. We're going to be first in line, camping out overnight.
There's a good turnout. Hopefully that's a good sign for WrestleMania. Lots of diehards, lots of edge heads. There's a diehard edge head there, though. She's got everything on. Check that out. Mind you, when we have shows, it's go, 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 go. So media days like this, a little bit different.
Edge, thanks for coming down here. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, too. But yeah, they're generally like this. Yeah. All right. So this is it, huh? Wow. Pretty cool. Safeco Field. This is it. All right. That's gonna be a lot of people.
No pressure, Bob. No pressure. Only millions of people are going to see this. All right, so you're going to prepare this bad boy to take it from a baseball field in March to the biggest wrestling spectacle ever.
Biggest. We're ready for it. You know?
Ready for it?
Oh, yeah.
What's going to happen, or do you know yet?
I don't know yet. We're only in January. I don't know yet.
So the ring will be right out here behind second base. Yeah.
So wham. How many seats are going to be on the field itself?
It's gonna be, there should be a few thousand, I believe.
Yeah,
we can fit a lot.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
12,000 people on the field.
12,000. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
And then we'll have all this filled up, obviously. The roof will be on. What we're going to do is we're going to have the stage. The opening is going to be by the 385.
And that's where we'll come out?
Yeah, that's where you'll come out.
take about a week to get ready, I think.
A week?
Yeah, I think we get 7 days.
How much you tear it down?
Hopefully 2 days, because we play baseball 6 days later.
Really?
So.
Well, it's always easier to tear stuff down and put it up, right?
Yeah.
You get this many people jammed into a place, and you can't help but have a cool feel, cool vibe. I think anybody who comes to WrestleMania knows that they should come to yell, scream, and cheer. Hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. I think they will, because they're going to get one hell of a show. It's going to be good.
Up next, the Horsemen know how to ride in style.
We talked about the gold, the glory, the girls, the money.
Welcome back to Confidential. This portion of the program is brought to you by Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner. Now available in Stacker 2 Ephedra Free and Stacker 2 Lite. By Xbox. Visit Xbox.com. The future of video games has arrived. And by Subway. Fresh-made sandwiches on fresh-baked bread. Subway, eat fresh.
The Four Horsemen have often been imitated, but never duplicated. To quote Ric Flair, they were all limousine riding, Learjet flying, kiss stealing sons of guns. The Four Horsemen were as legendary out of the ring as they were inside it. Their mere presence at a bar or a nightclub would turn an average night in the town into a full-blown party. They were arrogant, outrageous, living the high life, and loving every minute of it.
A day in the life of the Horseman. Well, I tell you, you would think this was embellishment. I'm telling you, it was not. In those days, we were drawing money, we were making money, the company was making money. Jim Crockett had 2 private planes. We all bought new Mercedes. We bought 5 at one time at the Mercedes dealership there in Charlotte. Pull our Mercedes up to the private aviation, get out, pull up to the steps of a private 10-seat jet. We'd fly to a Baltimore, Philadelphia, Richmond, Norfolk, wherever it was. Plane would land, there'd be a limousine sitting there. Jump in the limousine, go to the Marriott Hotel, check in, go to the arena, kick some major league ass, jump right back in a limousine, hit the town, whatever it was, whatever the evening called for, and we lived like Bob Hope. I don't know how life could have been any grander.
I got a real big house on the big side of town in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you know why I let Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard come over to my house and work out in my gym and swim in my pool and dive off my 5-meter board? Huh? You know why? Because they are champions. You got to be a champion 24 hours a day, not just inside that squared circle. If you can get a little picture here, Arn, you're really living the life, baby.
And that's what it was. It was an ideology.
Check that watch out, baby. Check that little timepiece.
We'd always wear sport coats and not always ties and stuff, but sport coats and sunglasses, and tried to be very GQ and all that kind of stuff.
We felt like we earned it. We worked harder than everybody else. We put in more time than everybody else. We were in a position to carry the company. We did carry the company. And we reaped the rewards.
Flair would get on television, Rolex time this and that, and so I had to go get me a different gold watch with diamond face so I could, try to upstage, and then he'd get a bigger watch, and I'd get a bigger car, and he'd get a bigger car, then I got 2 cars, then he'd get 3 cars, and we were firm subscribers to he who dies with the most wins.
Woo, let me see that Rolex, Slick Rick. Woo, where's the limousine, Nate?
When you are a star, you expect to be treated like a star, and you can be a little bit. I'll stop there.
You see, I can't help it that I'm a star.
We talked about being the best. We talked about the gold, the glory, the girls, the money, what lifestyle that you could get.
I'm surfing in Hawaii. I'm down at Myrtle Beach laying in the sun. I'm driving around in one of my 2 Corvettes, or I'm speeding across the Intercoastal in my Donzi 29 going, woo!
We actually preached in some fashion a way to live. It was a doctrine of sorts.
We were taking that private plane, and say for a 4-day run, we'd be on the West Coast. We'd park that private jet in Las Vegas and operate out of Vegas for 4 days. We'd go to the arena in, say, Oakland. We'd wrestle. We'd wrestle 30 minutes. Jump on that plane back to Vegas, drink half the night, get up with 4 hours sleep, go to the gym, go lay out in the sun all day, back on the plane, back to LA, wrestle 30 minutes, back to Vegas. Here you go again, gambling all night long. It was just one of those roller coaster rides that if I wasn't 25 years old, it'd killed me.
The thing that made the Horsemen was that what we talked about on television, we did.
We were just back from Las Vegas, you know, we had the big vacation right there.
When we went to Virginia Beach and went out to the nightclub, I mean, we went rocking and rolling. I mean, you knew the Horsemen were in town. When we went to Chicago, it was, and we got on television and talked about being at the Snuggery, which I don't think the Snuggery's even there anymore on Division Street, but in the mid-'80s, it was there, and when the limousine pulled up, we walked in, we did not pay for a drink. Nothing. Walked out of there. It was the Horsemen ruled, and they had to wait in line to get into place, and I mean, it was exciting.
The best part of it is we really were a legitimate team. It was 4 guys that really loved being together.
You're the richest and the best. And you talked about it. And see, that is why the Four Horsemen thing stuck.
Up next, a tribute to a man who made us smile, Owen Hart.
He's one of the guys that made it fun. Made coming to work entertaining off the camera.
PlayStation 2 presents WWE Royal Rumble live next Sunday from the sold-out Fleet Center in Boston, Massachusetts, and is available exclusively on pay-per-view. PlayStation 2. Live in your world. Play in ours.
The Raw 10th Anniversary Spectacular is this Tuesday night at 9 right here on TNN. There have been so many incredible moments, it will be impossible to recapture all of them in just 2 hours. But we'll give it our best shot. It's going to be an even tougher task to choose just one moment that stands out above the rest. But that's exactly what we've asked the fans to do. Thus far, 1.5 million votes have been tabulated, and this Tuesday, we'll reveal which is the fans' favorite Raw moment. Tonight, we wanted to spend a little time remembering a moment that tore at the heart of every fan and every superstar throughout the world. A horrible accident during a show caused the untimely death of Owen Hart. The following night on Raw, a mutual decision was made between management and superstars to go on with the show in a tribute to their fallen brother. In a business built on bravado and brawn, this was a night to let down the walls and grieve the loss of one of the most beloved men who ever set foot in a ring.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the sold-out Kiel Center here in St. Louis. As you can see, scores of superstars lining up to pay tribute to the life and the times of the late Owen Hart, who died last night in a tragic accident at Over the Edge in Kansas City. You're going to be able to hear the candid and very, very real sentiments of many of Owen's fellow superstars who will share with us their feelings about Owen Hart and what he meant to them.
In this business, I guess you got a lot of acquaintances, but very few friends. And Owen, he was one of those friends.
The thing I remember most about Owen Hart is his ability to make me and anyone else laugh. And when I think of Owen, I smile.
In all the years that I've been around Owen, and all the years that I traveled around this business, I have never met anybody that disliked Owen.
He loved his family. Talked about him all the time. He's one of the guys that you really felt was true about that. Lived for his kids and his wife.
I think there's probably a special place in heaven for Owen Hart. And I, like all the other guys, will miss him, and we loved him.
Owen, this is your night. And damn it, you know The Rock loved you like no other.
I still can't believe you're gone and you're not with us anymore. I keep thinking, I keep looking for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, all I can say about Owen Hart is I hope that I can be as good a man as him so that I can see him again someday.
Owen will be truly missed. Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask you to please rise as we toll the bell 10 times and pay our respects to Owen Hart.
Owen Hart, sadly missed by all of us. Next week, our confidential cameras will go walking in Memphis with Jerry the King Lawler, and we'll go behind the scenes at the Raw 10th Anniversary Spectacular. That's it for this week. Remember, if you see and hear it here, it's confidential.